Good day, my name is Christelle from France the Klerk, Independent Technical Analyst. The first one on our list this week is ENXGroup, ticker on our exchange ENX. We can see that the share is still in oversold territory. There is a positive divergence that happened in the week of the 29th of July, but it looks like that blue line, the K percentage line, it tries to lose steam and might even break downwards in oversold territory. That will be seen as very, very negative. However, if we look at the candle formations which represents the price action of the share, we can see that there is definitely higher lows, and very important, the last 2 weeks candles has got two lower shadows on the candles, and the support is almost of these shadows is almost at the same level, which implies that this might be a tweezer bottom. Now, a tweezer bottom is a positive turnaround formation, implying that the share is forming a base and that they might need this as the floor to jump on for higher levels. Confirmation of the tweezer bottom will be above the high of R5.80, that resistance that is currently waiting there on both of those candles. So above 580, that tweezer bottom might confirm optimism for higher levels. We've got this massive red candle. If we change this to a daily graph, we can see that this is a window, a gap. Some platforms actually show that as a massive gap, but a window nevertheless. So on a daily graph, that shows as a gap. We know the rules around gaps are that they always get closed. It can take weeks, days, months, or decades, but at some stage the share price has to go and close and trade at those levels. So very nice, strong levels to the top. My 40-week moving average is waiting at R8.09. A clear level of resistance that needs to change into support at some stage to change the long-term sentiment towards this share to positive. My strong support levels are the lows, which is waiting at R5.31. The lows of those three candles on the real body is R5.23, and then that week of the 8th of July, which is waiting at R4.50. Strong support levels that has to remain in place in order to sustain the momentum to the top for the ENX group. The next one on our list is Kumba, ticker on our exchange KIO. We can see that the momentum to the bottom is clearly in place. Yes, the share is oversold and there's no positive divergence yet, and there's no turnaround candle. But what we can see here as well is that there was a beautiful, or ugly rather, inverse cup and handle formation, right? And I'm going to draw that for our viewers. There is the massive cup and there is the handle. Inverse meaning negative because it's upside down, and below that neckline, which weighted at R410.27, below that level, the formation was confirmed. Now, the target of these formations is the length, I'll draw that for you, the length of in this case, the handle, and I'm going to draw that. So the length of the handle projected downwards from the neckline where that formation was confirmed, meaning the share price can go back to R269.66 should the profit taking continue, and the full target of the formation is the full length of the cup projected downwards from the neckline where the formation was confirmed, meaning we can see the share price back at R184.25 should the full formation play out. And I say should because it's not a guarantee that the full formation play out. At some stage, the buyers might want to make use of the oversold situation, and they might want to accumulate the share again, which will obviously form a base, a support level, and maybe a positive turnaround even. So at the moment, do not try to catch a falling knife. Wait for the share to completely find its base, and then wait for a possible turnaround candle or pattern. At the moment, the resistance, the closest resistance levels can be used as sign of optimism. So the first one will be maybe this week's high, which is about 351.34, or the week before that, 374.83. So as the share might turn around, those resistances can be used as first signs of optimism should the share price start to turn around. But the best way is actually to wait for turnaround, proper turnaround candles or formations. A bullish engulfing candle, a dragonfly candle, an inverse head and shoulder, or a cup and handle is obviously candles over a couple of weeks. That hints that the bottom is in place and that the investors have started to accumulate the share. But at the moment for Kumba, my 40-week moving average is also a resistance, implying that the long-term sentiment towards this share at the moment is negative. Trellidor. Ticker on our exchange TRL. I want to change this into a line graph because the volume on the shares might sometimes be thin and the spread wide, which makes it difficult to trade on a daily graph. But on the weekly graph, it gives us a good indication of what the investors are thinking about the share. So at the moment in mid-zone on my stochastic, look at that, my stochastic was not even completely oversold yet. In mid-zone, it started to turn around where that positive percentage K line, the blue line, started to find support on the orange line. That is seen as positive. However, okay, let's look at the formation. I've got a beautiful cup and handle here. And that formation will only be confirmed when that neckline starts to change into a support. On a line graph, that is waiting at R2.04. So at the moment, it is just about that 40-week moving average above R1.71. That is seen as positive. And we say that as long as the share trades above the 40-week moving average, the long-term sentiment towards the share is positive. And only below the bottom part of this handle on a line graph, and that is waiting at the closing price of R1.57. Only below that level will this possible cup and handle formation become obsolete, and can I say the optimism is off the table for the moment. But let's hope that the buyers continue to support the share and go back to that level of R2.04, test it and maybe even change it into a support, because if I zoom out, we can see that the share is trading at lower levels at the moment. And I mean, it's trading almost just that support that it found there on the handle of my cup and handle is very close to the support it found in the week of the 2nd of November 2020, as well as in the week of the 31st of August 2020 and that week of the 8th of June 2020. Close levels finding support. They're obviously critical levels that investors say, hey, listen, at these levels, there is opportunity to buy. So let's have a look and continue our eye on this cup and handle formation and hope that that level of R1.57 remains in place, that support level for Trellidor. Exxaro. Tumisa wanted us to look at Exxaro. Same story, Tumisa, the momentum to the bottom is clearly in place. Yes, my stochastic is oversold, but I don't have a positive divergence yet. That blue line has not broken upwards through my orange line yet. I also have here an inverse cup and handle formation. And I call this an inverse cup and handle formation and not a double top, because the resistance on the right hand side of the formation is a little bit lower than that resistance on the left. And that tells me, listen, it's a little bit of a lower high, and therefore I call it an inverse cup and handle and not a double top. Both of them are warning formations, implying that, listen, if the necklines starts to change into a resistance, the formations will be confirmed, and that will be the confirmation that the profit taking to the bottom can escalate. And that neckline weighted at R160.04. Below that level, the inverse cup and handle formation is in play and can take the share a lot lower. The targets is still the same. It's measured the same way. I take the full length of, let's say, the conservative one, the handle in this case, projected downwards from the neckline, can take the share back to 118.23, assuming that the momentum to the bottom continue. Only when the share starts to trade above the handle, the highest part of the handle, and that is waiting at R200.32, do I say that this formation then becomes obsolete and off the table. We are trading below that 40-week moving average. That tells me the long-term sentiment towards the share is positive. Now, my next strong support is waiting there, and I'm going to draw that that was formed in the week of the 31st of July 2023 up until the week of the 21st of August 2023. This is the next strong support, and that is waiting at 145 Rand 84. So it will be very interesting to see what does the share do when it gets to that level. Is there enough buyers to keep that level of support and protect it? Or is the seller so keen to take the share even lower? So 145.84 is the critical level to me, so that you have to keep an eye on. Yes, it is oversold, so that might be a level where investors say, hey, this is the opportunity here. Because if I go back, this is also the level back in November 2021, right? Where the share found support and then bounced again to higher levels. But if I look at the formation at its ease, look at this. There's a massive, ugly head and shoulder formation. Listen, it's formed over a long period of time, right? Since, I want to just look at the date here, since about December 2020. So we're looking at about 4 years. So that means it can take about 4 years, assuming that this formation will play out, for the share price to go back all the way to the length of the head projected downwards. Only when the share price starts to trade above the highest part of the shoulders, and that is my right shoulder here, waiting at 206 Rand, only above that level can I say, listen, this head and shoulder formation, this massive warning formation is off the table. Personally, I don't like to take a formation over that long period of time because so many things happen and changes so quickly that I prefer to look at a little bit of a shorter period to identify formations and to see whether are we positive or negative about the share. So critical level that needs to, and then obviously the neckline, once that changes into a support again, that and that is waiting, as I said, at let me give you that exact level, 160 Rand 4. Above that level, the first sign of strength will be visible on Exxaro. Mr. Price, massive momentum to the top. I mean, the share gave such a beautiful rally. I mean, once this 40-week moving average changed into support here in November last year, I mean, the share just moved from strength to strength. There was a little bit of a profit taking, but now it's at a critical level. It's at the same resistance levels it found in May 2021 as well as August 2021. So will that level remain a support? And that is waiting at 227 Rand 61. That is the floor. That is the support level of Mr. Price that has to remain in place in order to sustain the momentum to the top for Mr. Price to higher levels. But even in this case, if I zoom out, we can see white, a beautiful cup, massive cup, small handle there, massive handle, beautiful cup and handle formation that can take this share a lot higher should the momentum to the top continue. But at the moment, look at this, the stochastic is overbought, right? That elastic band is stretched to the side. What does that mean? It means the probability is there that the share might first retrace a little bit, that profit taking will take place first before we see some upside again. So don't chase the momentum, not an ideal place to buy any share when it's this overbought. Wait for a pullback. So technically, you can use any low of the preceding candles as support levels, right? To say, listen, below this level, my first sign of weakness will be in place. And that is the week of the 19th of August. I would take that as the first one, below 227 Rand 11 or below 213.63. Below those levels, there will be confirmation that, listen, the sellers are taking profit and that they maybe want to give the share a little bit of a breather. Other thing to remember as well, or to keep in mind, is that we're starting to see lower highs, right? Every week, the high of the share is becoming a little bit lower and lower. That also implies loss of momentum. This week's high is waiting at 244.99. It's already a little bit lower than the preceding week's high of 246.18. Something that ought to also keep in mind to see whether the buyers and the buying power is strong enough to continue to sustain this massive momentum to the top. This is a type of lamp pole formation, a fast move to the upside, which means it can very quickly, when it starts to fall over, move very quickly to the downside. If you've got requests, don't forget to send us either an email to admin@francedeclerk.com or send us a message via Twitter. Have a blessed week. Take care.